Let's go! LSU Arkansas film study. We're mostly going to focus on the offense because for the second straight week, the defense did their job, holding Arkansas to 4 yards per play, basically, and only 281 total yards of offense. When you do that for basically the second straight week, you've got to go out there and win the game. And obviously a lot is being said of Jake Peetz, Max Johnson, GARRETT NUSSMEIER, all those different things. Also, it was kind of fun to actually go to a game and meet quite a few of you. So, and what Ole Miss did a really good job of, and Max Johnson has not been able to adjust to this, and Kentucky did this to a certain degree as well. What teams have been doing to Max, and we're just going to go ahead and run this play. What they do is they layer their blitzers to where a lot of quarterback spies and blitzers are running full speed at Max Johnson, and Max just doesn't have, number one, the athleticism to make those blitzers miss and kill them with their legs, a lot like KJ Jefferson did on his long touchdown, like Bo Nix did. And they also don't trust Max Johnson's ability to throw over the top of them, as we see here on this 3rd and 5 with Malik NABERS. So let's just stop it right here, okay? So it's pretty clear that Arkansas is in something called zero coverage. So on the play before, Max hit TDP in the flat, and what Arkansas is essentially doing is zero coverage means that there's no safety over the top, and it's pure man-to-man across the board. So right here, Max actually makes a really good read. Arkansas is playing man-to-man across the board, and they're obviously playing really downhill and heavy, so you got to hit them over the top here. And this is obviously a good change for LSU because teams, especially Alabama last week, just kept bearing down at the yard marker to where they were just jumping every route, pressing every route. So when they do this, we got to beat them over the top. And right here is not the absolute best here. This corner does a good job turning, but as you see here, Malik actually beats this corner to the outside, and Max has a good opportunity to hit Malik over the top because he does have half a step over him. And this corner also knows that he is in something called, once again, zero coverage. So if you throw this football out here, even if you get an incompletion, the corner is likely going to pull the guy down because a 15-yard penalty is a far more optimal outcome than a touchdown given up over the top. So if the throw was half decent, we're probably getting at least a pass interference penalty, or as many of you know, Malik is actually a really good contested ball catcher. He had that amazing catch against Kentucky, but instead of getting a decent pass, we get a duck, which is just, unfortunately, the norm for Max Johnson. Now, I understand that last night on the live stream, it got pretty intense involving Max Johnson. And before I continue, all my criticisms or critiques of Max and GARRETT NUSSMEIER comes out of a place of love, especially in this matchup, because as many of you know, me growing up in Arkansas, the Golden Boot is my favorite game of the year. All right, it's part of the reason why I went to this game in person. I circled this game on the calendar because it does mean a whole heck of a lot to me, and I hate that we lost this game. I really do. So, as many of you know, we had 2 new offensive guards, Marlon Martinez and Garrett Dellinger, and what Arkansas decides to do. Now, once again, you can't see it from the Zen Zone camera, but this defensive tackle is actually a yard off the ball, and what they're going to do is something called a cross dog, where Grant Morgan is blitzing this way, and Hayden Henry, who had a wonderful game, actually blitzes around here, and you'll see it right here, okay? And what this does is this just makes sure that you get a blitzer home free, and when they're bringing 7 guys, someone is just going to be unblocked, and in this case, even though it doesn't look like it, so they're crossing Grant Morgan over here, their linebacker, and this is actually the backside defensive end. This defensive end is going to pick up this offensive guard, and they get their quickest linebacker, Henry, and he's got really a lot of speed. Look at how well he turns this angle. Look at that. That is really good blitzing right there from Arkansas. But Max has plenty of time. This is a good blitz pickup because, once again, even though this is coming through our B gap, this was a long developing blitz. So this is more than enough time for Max to step into this throw. Now, once again, it was cold, but not overly windy. I was sitting in the end zone. He was throwing this ball into it. Even if it is slightly windy, you do have your cleats in the ground, and you do need to just fire this ball. But I think Max doesn't fully step into this. Afraid to get the hit. Good job of Hayden Henry not hitting him to avoid a roughing call. And look, if you throw this ball in this direction, you're either getting a completion for a touchdown or just a long completion, a pass interference penalty. As you see here, this ball just floats, and it's underthrown, and I don't know what that is. So we move ahead here to the 3rd and 5. Once again, Arkansas is doing the same thing. Guys lined up off the ball, and what they want to do is get their blitzing linebackers running downhill. But this time, Arkansas brings nobody on this 3rd and 5. So Max Johnson's going to have all day to make this throw. Does a good job. They're bracketing Jack Bech here with 2 guys. So you got to work to right here, and Max throws a really good ball in a tight window. Okay? Good throw right there to Trey, and we complete this first down. Good offense. So we move ahead to 2nd and 22. Armani goes down for a loss of 2. We had a holding penalty on first down, and believe it or not, Max makes a really good read, but a not-so-great throw here to DEVONTA Lee. He gets a step right here on, I believe this is Buster Brown, their best corner, and he has to wait on it. It was a bad throw, okay? So, you know, look, this is not difficult. You can't make the play calling excuse here for Max Johnson. Rush 3, drop 8, and when they're dropping 8, we're able to potentially score a touchdown here. They're giving no safety help to DEVONTA Lee, their best corner. And, I mean, you have all day to step in this throw and just legit just blast this thing right down the sideline. That's all you have to do. Let him run into it, but we have to wait on it. So Max is 0 for 2 on deep balls, and I'm happy we got the penalty here. And you'll see it here. This angle is even better. Good job by DEVONTA Lee with this hand fighting. Devonta Smith, his fellow Amite, Louisiana native, was really good at this too. But, you know, you have to work back to it. At least we get a penalty out of it. So on this 1st and 10, we decide to go right back to it. Okay? Which is good. You know, give it another shot. And they're bringing a delayed blitz again. So, once again, he has a step on him. So we just need this ball to be thrown out there. And once again, it's back-shouldered, which is fine. But, I mean, look, it's the same thing. Throw it out there, okay? So now we're 0 for 3 on these deep patterns, okay? Devonta does his job again. I mean, this is not hard. I understand that sounds harsh, but Max Johnson is severely broken. Alrighty, here we go. It's a 3rd and 7, and this is where I think, you know, I was joking with my buddy Seth Lewis about this on Twitter yesterday, about the 3rd and 7 play calls to Josh Williams. This was not one of them. Here we're letting Max Johnson make a play on this rush 3, drop 8, and this is where Jake Peetz had to call the runs on 3rd and 7. And we'll get to those Josh Williams runs in just a second. But here we go. So Max Johnson steps up in the pocket. He didn't do that last week against Alabama, which is good. But once again, this is something Max just struggles with, okay? Linebackers that are QB spies that are running downhill at him, okay? So on this 3rd and 7, understand that this is potentially a 2-down territory. So what we don't want to do is take a sack. We don't have to get all 7 of the yards here. Let's just pick up a certain amount of the yards, and we're either going to be in better position for a field goal, or we're going to make it a more manageable 4th. So a throw here to Jack Mashburn isn't bad. A check down here to Josh Williams isn't bad. or like we've been begging Max Johnson to do, tuck it and run it. Tuck it and go. And make it a manageable fourth. We do neither of those. This split right here is unacceptable on a rush 3, drop 8. We need Liam to make sure that this guy doesn't split right here. And he does. Max is feeling this pressure. Now this linebacker's coming. Once again, this throw to Jack Mashburn still would have been there for a first. He still didn't throw it. And now he's deciding to run. And once again, Max has no juice in his legs at all. Just nothing with his shakes. It's a spin move, and then they get a sack. And now you're essentially forced to punt. Once again, it's not great quarterbacking. And I think LSU just struggles coaching this part of the field. They did last year, even with Miles to a certain degree, and they're doing it now. So we get a great punt return from Trey, some really good defense from Micah Baskerville and the guys, and now here we go. We get exactly what we want here. All day to throw. We're throwing on first down, which is good. It's the analytically smart thing to do. And GARRETT NUSSMEIER decides to take a shot here, and first thing is this ball. I know he's worried about the safety right here. We need this ball to be thrown into this space. So right here in his route, Malik can run into it. But once again, it could be the first time playing in the cold, really, for these guys that had an impact on this game. The ball kind of floats on them. It was slightly windy. Once again, this was the end zone I was sitting in. It was slightly windy. This ball does hang up in the air. And honestly, number 2, Slusher, just makes a really good play on this ball. Look at how clean he batted that ball directly down. Really good play right there from a really good safety from Arkansas. But if you bring this throw back here for Nuss, this is essentially the throw to Deion Smith, Nuss's first throw against Central Michigan all over again. You don't always have to throw to your first read, especially if you have all day to throw and you have good protection, okay? Understand when you go to your second read, that read could be even more wide open than your first because you're just going through progressions, right? So once we get to here, Nuss obviously has all day to throw, and he has his mind made up that he's throwing this deep ball to Malik, which is not bad. We're driving the football down the field. We're stretching the defense. But as you see here, we had Trey for a huge gainer right here on first. Okay, and if you throw this ball, and this could be BTJ right here. Either way, for those that saw our first Nuss film study, he had BTJ over the middle on his first throw. Okay, so on this 3rd and 7, a lot of you didn't like this call. I actually really, really like this call on 3rd and 7, knowing that you're going to go for it on 4th. Make it a more manageable 4th for your quarterback. And it's also a small chance you can still pick up this 3rd and 7 on a run, okay? So we hand this football here. Liam Ridgway gave Liam a lot of issues all night. That's just not good right there. But still, Josh Williams, this was probably his best run of the night. Did a good job turning this run into something. Cuts inside right here, and he makes this a manageable 4th. Because you saw on the Max Johnson 4th down where he stepped up into the pocket and we took a sack. That took away your opportunity to go for it or a more feasible field goal. So that's why that run right there is a good call on that 3rd and 7. You pick up some yards. So now it's 4th and 2. We're going to TDP. He's done such a great job on short yardage, and he makes a really good bounce read, a lot like he did last week against Alabama. He sees that this surge is all penetrating to the inside or slanting to the inside. When you see that, you bounce into this space, good read, and he cuts it up in there and picks up a nice gain. Once again, this was the end zone I was sitting in, and I think this was a big miss right here by LSU on the 2nd and 7. So once again, rush 3, drop 8. And 21, we had been getting behind him on go routes, right? So this was a really good job right here by Mangus and the staff getting JARAY over the top on a guy that's playing press, okay? So Garrett sees that the safety is doubling right here to BTJ. So now you just got to hit him over the top right here, and you got a clean pocket to do so. Okay, and we're even. That's good. So we need you to throw this ball into this space and allow JARAY to run into it. Brown, the corner here, does a good job fighting JARAY right here, but JARAY eventually does break off of this. But where this route was run, right, one was Brown getting really, really physical, okay? And where I think the mistake was JARAY mistimed his jump. The ball is actually pretty well thrown. You've got to get the football out into this space. If you underthrow it, you're obviously giving it a shot to be picked. And this was an issue Coy Moore had in particular. And LSU's receivers do have a tendency to do this. You don't have to jump this early. Run into the space. And if he would have just kept sprinting into this throw, you notice where he leaves his feet is right here. He's already determining that he's needing to dive for this football, and the ball is still just too high. Once again, it's not the best throw. You could back shoulder it to this back pylon and allow your receiver to work back. Once again, that is a really difficult throw for a true freshman to make. But still, you know, this was catchable. If JARAY times his jump potentially a little bit better, I may be just totally off base on that. But that wasn't the worst throw, because you can't, as many of you know how this game ended up, you can't underthrow that because it can get picked and you're taking points off the board. All right, so 3rd and 7, and we hand this football off to Josh Williams, okay? And I understand you don't like the call, and you have a reason to not like this call. Okay, so I think essentially they were trying to do what they did just a minute ago. Set up a more manageable 4th down. Obviously, you don't want to throw a pick with GARRETT NUSSMEIER, the true freshman, into the game. I do think this is a little too conservative. If you make that call, you have to go for it on 4th. I don't like relinquishing the possession of the football just for a field goal on running the football on 3rd and 7 with Josh Williams, who outside of a 24-yard run versus Florida, you take that out. And by the way, that run he had was on a perfectly blocked play. Josh Williams averages less than 4 yards per carry. So we're asking a guy who, you know, outside of a long run against Ole Miss, really hasn't done a whole lot with his carries. He's a good story. To pick up 7 yards in that situation, you're just giving up. And we don't want to do that. If you run that play, you got to go for it on 4th. That's the only justification of doing that. So if you're Arkansas and you watch all the film last week versus Alabama, you saw that LSU blitzed out of their 3-man look or more exotic looks. So if you're KJ Jefferson, pre-snap here, you look here, LSU is back in their traditional 4-man look. And as many of you know, for 99% of the season, especially if you take out the Alabama game, all we were doing last year, not only this year, but last year, we were just rushing 4 and dropping everyone else. But KJ Jefferson sees this, and he's probably like, okay, there is no way that they are bringing a blitz out of their traditional 4-man look. But that is not the case. And what a giveaway on this could have been is BJ was lined up really tight just to Jaquelin, so that might mean he takes this gap and Micah goes through there. But still, this is just so well disguised. This is not only scheming your opponent, but scheming their own film study, right? Yes, we did blitz a lot versus Alabama, but rarely did we do it out of a soft traditional 4-man look. And normally if we blitz, we rarely do blitz the slot corner. And I've been begging LSU to blitz their slot corners. And in this case, Micah Baskerville, who is a linebacker, is essentially the slot corner. Because look, we are still in our base 4-3 personnel with Mike Jones as one of our linebackers, Micah Baskerville and Damon Clark here. So the reason why this blitz was so good is KJ pre-snap thought that there's no way that this linebacker was blitzing. So he play action fakes out of it, and then it's just too late. We're getting a free blitzer. Good job by BJ. He's done a really good job of this, not only against Alabama, holding up this right tackle. And I don't know, this tight end both picked up this blitzer as well. So we did get a little lucky on this, but I even think he was fooled that we actually blitzed our nickel or our slot corner or the guy playing the slot corner. That is really good stuff by Daronte, getting us a free sack right there. So now we get to the highlight of the day, and obviously this is Garrett Nussmeier to Jack Bech. First thing, we need to get Jack on the field. I mean, he just gives us so much out of this tight end position right here. And essentially, they're running the same exact look you saw on the very first play with Max Johnson. They're cross-dogging. The defensive end is twisting around this defensive tackle. And what this is supposed to do is get Hayden Henry unblocked here. But would you look at this? Cardell Thomas does a good job picking up this guy and stretching him, so it gives TDP enough time to pick up the scraps right here. Really good rep right here by Cardell, who had a decent game overall. Where the mistake was actually made was this blitzing safety here. Cam Wire just doesn't get a clean look at him, and he's able to turn the corner very easy. Okay, so if you're Garrett Nussmeier, what you need to do, obviously, is step up into this or just make this guy miss in some shape, form, or fashion. And he does just that. Okay, spins out of it. Really good stuff right there by Garrett Nussmeier. You don't want to use that move too much. We've run into a few sacks with our quarterback spinning, but this is just what Garrett Nussmeier does. Spinning out and making plays such as this one, 50-50. He knows it's a zero blitz, but the way that they did blitz, and you throw up a 50-50 ball for Jack Bech to do Jack Bech things. That is a truly insane catch as well. Right in the student section as well. Get them fired up. Guys, we are winning the Golden Boot. So you'll see this cross dog here as well. So once again, really good job. We picked this up pretty well like we did on the first snap, and where the miss was by Cam right here, and this is just nasty right here by Nuss. Make this guy spin, okay, and make that guy miss, and then throw it on off your back leg. It's a big difference between Nuss and Max. Max is never making this throw. He just can't make this throw. Spinning out of it, could have hit Trey right there, but why hit Trey when you can actually get a 50-50 ball in the end zone to our best wide receiver? Bech not only catches it, the Ole Miss toe tap again, ladies and gentlemen. So before I show you this Jack Bech throw, this is essentially what Garrett Nussmeier's stat line has been up to this point. 1 of 6, 29 yards, 1 touchdown. This is kind of reminiscent of his performances previous against McNeese in Central Michigan. You know, lots of sexy incompletions, deep throws that are almost completed. So we do need better efficiency, and this is really good. Let's give him an easy throw. Our bread and butter play. Okay? To Jack Bech right here. And we do just that. Okay? Good job by Max floating this ball. And then Bech obviously makes this guy miss. Really good stuff. Okay, so now we're cooking. And we're actually going to do the same thing here, but to this side. Okay, we're rolling out to the left. And now this safety is jumping this. Okay, so Nuss sees this, and then he goes to a second level. Really good quarterbacking here. This is what we want Garrett Nussmeier doing, making easy throws. Now all we need is Jack. Once again, good job by Trey. Don't do anything stupid. We need Jack to make this guy miss. He does. Make one more guy miss. Good job holding on to it. Okay, he doesn't. Ball is fumbled out of bounds. We'll take it. Okay. Alrighty, so we move ahead to this Wildcat. Okay, and yeah, I'm going to be brief on this while at the same time discussing why this doesn't make any sense. I know it didn't work, but honestly, it just doesn't make sense. I don't let the end result of this play just determine whether or not it was a good decision. Okay, so the running back on this play is Ty Davis-Price, who is a really good back, but in order to run the Wildcat, and as you see, Garrett Nussmeier's like, why are we calling the Wildcat when I'm starting to get on fire and catch a rhythm? Okay, so let's talk about this Wildcat. Now, you know, discussing what the heck happened, and TDP's like, the snap was bad. Liam's like, what? The snap was okay? And TDP just tripped on himself. Well, you'll get the end zone camera. So, number one, in order to run the Wildcat, you've got to have a dude back there actually handling the football, because not only do you have to take the snap, you've got to make a few decisions. On this play in particular, it was a run all the way. But the second thing is, you have to really threaten the defense, okay? Because if they see a running back at quarterback, they know you are going to more than likely run the football, okay? And back there with TDP was once again Josh Williams, okay? Now, Josh is a great story, but, you know, I'm telling you, when players watch film, they look to see at which guys they should be worrying about, and I guarantee when they watch film, they're like, okay, Jack Bech, this dude's a dog, but when they were scouting Josh Williams, I'm not sure if there was any special packages to stop Josh Williams. So the first thing is, this is not threatening the defense at all. And the second thing here is, let's just say LSU spent a lot of time in practice with this play. Let's just say that they really were like, okay, we want to install the Wildcat offense. Well, that time could have been given working on Max Johnson's red zone deficiencies, GARRETT NUSSMEIER's reps. So if LSU practiced this play, that time could have been spent doing something else. Let's just say that they didn't practice this play all that much. That makes it even more inexcusable to run a play when your quarterback is starting to get hot. So, number one, we don't have the best Wildcat running back to even run the offense. Number two, it was a wasted amount of time in practice. And number three, we have a struggling offensive line. And let's just say we do recover fumbles. We are not good at recovering fumbles. As many of you know, we've lost a lot of the 50-50 battles when balls actually do hit the ground. So, this is just a mess. It's honestly a mess. And the snap wasn't the best. If you're TDP, you got to make sure you handle this. Don't one-hand it, and then he trips on his own feet. He doesn't actually slip. He just kind of loses his balance, and it's just a mess. It's a comedy of errors. And let's see if this play was actually well blocked. Cardell a little late getting out of his stance. That makes sense if you don't play a lot. So he's pulling around. Let's see. Was this play even going to work? Oh, it might have. We got a good double right here. No, because I think Cardell was supposed to actually block 27. Either way, it's a fumble. I mean, it might have worked. I don't know. It's just a mess. But so we had a run stopped on first down, and right here, Nuss just begins to fall apart. This was when things started to get really tough, and he's a true freshman quarterback, and he was the better of the two quarterbacks. He's rolling out to the right, and, I mean, BTJ is just sitting here, okay? And what sucks about this is BTJ, we've seen this happen in other games. When things don't go right for him early, things do begin to change. And this is frustrating as a receiver. I totally get it. But you can't let this miss affect you, okay? But, God, that's a bad miss. I mean, I don't know what he's looking at here to force this ball into this space that wasn't there. I mean, that's just bad. It's just a bad miss. And then we get this 3rd and 10 play. This still doesn't make sense to me. Maybe he's hurt, but on every third down, Jack Bech has got to be on the field. I don't understand the Jack Mashburn over Jack Bech on a 3rd and 10 when it's an all-or-nothing situation. We've got to get 10 yards or else we're punting. This is not one of those middle 4th down situations, right? So we don't want to check down here if they're sinking back, but, you know, he just had to take it. And we're getting nothing out of it. I can't see the routes on this game replay, but we get nothing. So it's a good call right here by Jake. Let's go back to Trey in that little spot, and we do exactly that. Ball's right on the money. Trey had a really good game. We're not showing it but his punt return game was really good, and it has been good all season. I kind of hope Trey houses a punt return this year so he can get the proper credit that he deserves for his punt return game. Good throw, good catch, first down. So here I thought we could have played a little faster. We get that first down, and look, we are in a position now where the only stop that they've had was the stupid Wildcat fumble, and we missed BTJ on a wide open throw earlier, and it's 1st and 10, and we're still running here, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And we pick up a decent amount of yardage here on this first down, but I just like throwing on first down, and I know we were in our heavy set, and we brought in an extra offensive lineman. Once again, we'll take the yards. It's good. I just thought we should have just thrown on first down more often than what we did in this game. So here we go, 3rd and 7, and guys, I'm so sick and tired of playing like cowards. The first time we ran it on 3rd and 7, it was because they're making it a more manageable 4th. The second time, the third time, this is just bad. You know you're not getting this. You know it's not working. And Jack Mashburn misses this block. TDP does a good job banging it up in there and potentially making, something out of nothing here. Maybe Ed Orgeron did this because he also knows Sam Pittman can be a little conservative as well. But this is just so bad. This is so bad, guys. I know they only have one timeout left, but I'm tired of backing into things. We backed into the Mississippi State win. We just back into everything. Stop it. Put your foot on their throats and keep going. Don't do this nonsense on 3rd and 7. It makes no sense. It's just bad, and it's a reason why we are so bad in the proverbial middle 8. The last 4 minutes of the second, the first 4 minutes of the third. We're just bad in that aspect. And once again, this has just been a flaw of Ed Orgeron, and it's just the truth. We're so bad in these spots.
All right, it was a lot of fun. Go Tigers, go! Now going to the setup for the postgame show. Let's go!
Boom! So before we get into the second half breakdown, that goes to show you how freaking cool it was to get to go to that game with Marcus, one of our day one PHLers, and it was also really cool to Dr. R donating us the ticket so I could take a viewer to the game, and it was so cool to do the viewer meetup yesterday. So don't worry, we're going to get back into some more film, but if you can, please drop a donation, super chat if you're watching this live, Venmo, Cash App, all that good stuff. And I want to show you this amazing blitz call by Daronte Jones, and we're going to break it down from the end zone camera. And while this is actually happening, I do want to share a pretty startling revelation that I learned from leaving the game at halftime. I hate leaving the game at halftime because I never do it. If it's a close game, I'm staying to the bitter end. The only reason I left was to get ready for the post-game show, and it is amazing how many people leave at halftime by numbers. And look, if people are going to leave at halftime, part of it is it just getting cooler. But if you're an Arkansas fan, you're probably going to stay for the whole game. You made the trip. This is the only time you'll see them in Tiger Stadium for another 2 years. So you're just going to stay the entire game. Whereas a lot of LSU fans leave. They fight the traffic. There's still 2 more home games. But part of the reason why they're leaving is some people are just leaving just to beat traffic. But a lot of people are leaving because it's uninspiring football. Yes, we are playing a tight, close game in a quote-unquote rivalry game, but when you're playing at the end of the half and you're basically kneeling down, which essentially is what you're doing on 3rd and 7s, running the football, it's just not fun to watch, really. You know, I remember I asked Marcus, I was like, look, if you want to stay for the end of the game, you can. But even the people around us were yawning and just not interested. And that's it. You know, play inspiring football. If you're going to go out, be bold. One reason I really like this call, though, by Daronte, as we get back into the film here, is they run these long developing plays. If they're going to do that, be aggressive. Get them right before they even turn. That is essentially what we do. And this misdirection, all these, I mean, Traylon was coming over the top. He could have hit a crosser right here if he had time to set up and throw. He also could have hit Kern in the flat that would have picked it up. The good thing about it is because you blitz and you're playing downhill, it never even gives him the opportunity to make a play. Good stuff. But unfortunately, Ed Orgeron's third quarter struggles continued. Good RPO right here to start things off. Okay, let's hit Trey right here. Okay. Safety does a good job fighting down, but this is just a really good job by Trey making a tough, contested grab against Slusher, who had a really good game. So we got the RPO game going. Pick up a nice gain on first down. So we pick up the first down with TDP on a run. And this was one of Nuss's sacks right here. Boom, where the football needs to go is right here to Cole Taylor. I understand it's not exciting as a quarterback to hit your tight end in the flat, but this is just the right throw. And I know it's not exciting as a quarterback to throw the football, with all due respects, to Cole Taylor. I understand if you're Nuss, you always want to hit the home run ball, but this is the issue Patrick Mahomes is having right now with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just trying to make too much out of nothing. Right? You can't always hit the home run. And part of the issue for me is, especially when you got to this point of the field, Garrett Nussmeier kept trying to make the Jack Bech touchdown throw over and over again when football games are won when you do all the other different types of throws. And I think part of it is, just the highlights, right? It's cool to have those social media highlights where you're spinning around, whirling Derbyshire, deep throws. But most of football games are won when you're doing this. I mean, just hit Cole Taylor, and he is getting no less than 5 yards right here. So the thing is Nuss never even saw Cole Taylor, but this is simple. If you see these guys are sinking this far back into this space, boom, you as a quarterback in your mind has to know if these DBs are running and this linebacker's running with them, you got to hit your check down, especially on first down. Once again, I like throws on first down. I like taking shots on first down. But the benefit of running deep routes on first down is if they cover it, you can always just boom right there. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing, you step up in the pocket. I like it. Okay, if you are going to step up into this space, good job by this defensive end retracing his steps. Just sprint as hard as you can into this space. I know that you are deep in your drop back here, but you just got to go. You just got to run through, two hands on the ball, throw it. Once again, Cole is still there if he wanted it. Gets up in a ball like this and then just tries to, I don't know what he's trying to do now, and he just kind of runs into the sack, and you just got to eat it. Yeah, it's just not good. That's really true freshman-y quarterbacking right there. And that's the thing. In high school, you don't have to make these kinds of plays. You're the best player on the field, and you're basically hitting home runs every snap. And it's optimal to hit home runs on every snap in high school because if you hit 4 or 5 of them, you're winning the game. Whereas in college, you're probably going to hit maybe 1 or 2 home runs at best, and most of what you have to do the rest of the game, and we talked about this in the post-game live stream, most of what you have to do at the rest of the game is just making the throws that are there. That is oftentimes the biggest gap and struggle that quarterbacks have to deal with is telling yourself, hey, I'm not going to win the game on every single throw. And the good thing about hitting your checkdowns is they have to start respecting your checkdowns, and those home runs begin to start to open up. So, yeah. Also, I once again, I like Cole Taylor a lot as a teammate. I just don't like taking Jack Bech off the field. I mean, he's just too valuable of an asset at this point. Once again, you do have to start worrying about snap share, snap count, and all of that. But either way, 2nd and 15, we actually get a really good read right here by Nuss. So he's looking left, nothing's there, and they're blitzing. And guess what? They get a free blitzer coming from the second level, and guess where Nuss eventually finds where to throw the football? To where the blitzer is actually coming from. Really good quarterbacking here from GARRETT NUSSMEIER. Now we need Malik to make Slusher miss. We got to get him. Oh, God, that's a good open field tackle. Maybe Malik could have done more with that. Slusher had a really good game. But once again, this is really good quarterbacking here. Okay? Don't hit your home run. Go to your second option here. And we got Jack Bech back on the field. It's just amazing what he does. Okay? He gets in the way and creates traffic for Slusher. And now we're hitting the slant. And Nuss actually was looking left to BTJ at the start of the snap and then working right into this space. Excellent quarterback. You couldn't do it any better. And he could have hit check down right here, but he found the best option on this throw. Excellent stuff. It was a little behind him. We would like to lead him just a little bit more. He did have to slow down just a little bit, but it's still a good throw. Now, this is where, Malik's next step as a true freshman. This is a tough tackle to break, but if you break it, you're probably scoring here. We've got to do something. You have all this field to work with. This would be the next thing I would go with, work with my guys if I'm Mickey Joseph. Work on making this guy miss. Let's make him miss. Let's pot the sucker open. Malik's definitely a good enough athlete to do that. Give Slusher a good bit of credit. So now we're starting. I mean, we still have some juice here. It's 3rd and 5, okay? And we missed Jack Bech here. There's no other way around it. We just got to make this throw. And they're bringing a blitzer. We pick it up. And it's just, 4-man rush. And they're delaying this quarterback spy. Okay? Once again, Cam going up against Joe Fouché from New Orleans. He's from New Orleans. Had a rough go blocking the smaller guys. It's just too much of the edge given up right there. But Nuss has, let's be honest, this is a good enough pocket for him to step into this throw, and it's just a miss. It's a tough throw, and it kind of gets into his blind spot there. It's a miss. We pick it up here. Once again, pocket is good enough. Protection is good enough. Did this affect his throw? Did he feel it? Maybe. Once again, Cam, we gotta wash him up. We gotta get a little bit better of a piece of him here. No, I don't think that affected his throw. He might have felt this pressure though. It just depends. You never really know. And, we have a step on him. This is who we want throwing this football to. It is interesting that Jack Bech wears this mouthpiece, but he doesn't. He uses this mouthpiece, but he doesn't actually wear it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just cumbersome, right? But ultimately, it was just a missed throw. And then we kicked this field goal on 4th and 5. I think you do have to try the field goal to try and make it a 2-possession game, especially knowing that this is in Cade York's range. It is shocking. Yes, I know it's cold. I know it's a different temperature to kick the football. Cade York does kick his kicks really high. Maybe he needs to drive the football more and kick more of a line drive. That's why Cade York's kicks, though, never get blocked. Jacob Hester did a really good film study with Cade York saying that he doesn't let the distance affect the height on his kicks, but it is shocking to see a 55-yarder with Cade's leg fall short. Is it a little concerning? Not really, because the ball was good as far as accuracy is concerned. It is very, very interesting, though. So, let's talk about this touchdown, okay? So we have a 3-man look. This is Savion Jones, okay? Good to see him getting some reps. 3-man front, and this is essentially a 3-3-5 stack. This is Mike Jones coming up here to be the 4th down lineman. So we have 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. And we are bringing a blitz, our best player, Damon Clark, and we get exactly what we want. You could not ask for anything else. Good call right here by Daronte Jones. I like the design of this. This end needs to hold up this guard, and he does. He goes right into the guard. Good job by Mike Jones taking this tackle. We got our best player one-on-one right here, and we just got to bring him down. We just do, right? But this is a danger when you blitz. He misses. Damon Clark, kind of hard to get on him too much for that. And once this is just the Bo Nix play all over again, you just got to make the play. I mean, you just do. And honestly, this was actually I take this back. This is not a 3-3-5 stack. This is actually our defensive end in coverage from the get-go. So this is getting really creative, which I like. Okay, so this is actually Desmond Little. So this is not a 3-3-5 stack personnel. This is still our 4-3 personnel, but instead of our defensive end being on the line of scrimmage, we knock Jaquelin Roy to this side in, 2 defensive tackles, Savion Jones moves to DT, and then Mike Jones is pressuring, and then we're blitzing this guy. So this is really exotic because this is actually Desmond Little, their linebacker, in coverage right here. So we have them completely confused with their personnel, and you just this really isn't on Daronte. You just got to have your best player bring him down. But sometimes, though, when you hold them to 281 yards, KJ Jefferson is a good football player. Guys make football plays, right? He's just a good athlete, and sometimes it's just going to happen. And essentially, he not only had one, he had, the best player on the field, Traylon Burks. He could have hit him, and he could have potentially housed this up the sideline. But essentially, this is just a walk-in touchdown right here. And you'll see it here on the All-22. I mean, once again, you just couldn't call this any better. And when you're blitzing and getting really exotic with your linebackers, running backs can begin to kill you in the passing game, okay? And that's essentially what they're doing. They run like a double wheel. And what probably should have happened here, this corner, actually, this is on whoever this is right here, Dwight McGlothern. He gets carried by this route, and, this wheel was there anyway. So if we didn't even get pressure, it was there, right? So this should have been Dwight McGlothern staying with this guy. Anyway, that's just my best guess. And then this is just easy. And, yeah. I mean, that's... Ugh. Alrighty, so this is one of Nuss's best plays. So we play action fake here with Armani Goodwin. He was stopped on first down. And essentially we were just rolling out to the right side. And Nuss thought about actually throwing this football right here. Instead, he just keeps going and waits for something to open up. When this defender commits, he sees that. And then he just hits Trey Palmer right here. Really good quarterbacking. Good catch by Trey, kind of bobbled it there. Just still, that's a difficult catch to stay with the route, and we're able to move the chains. I thought we moved the chains. We run the football. This is an easy read by TDP. They're pinched in, so you just bounce into this space, and we pick up the first down. Here we go. Here's Garrett Nussmeier's interception, and I think I know what he was trying to do. Okay, so the first thing is this ball should have gone to Jack Bech, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and run it for you. Miles Slusher, once again, you heard me say his name, number 2, was just really good for them. And what's very fascinating was heading into this game, Arkansas is without their best player, Jalen Catalon. He is their number 1 player on the team. So their safeties really stepped up. But this is a 3-point miss right here. If you hit Jack Bech right here, Jack Bech will do Jack Bech things, make someone miss, and get in field goal range if you just hit him in stride right here. Also, something else that really sucks about this on this rush 3 drop 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just sitting on everything intermediate, and potentially, once again, it's tough. This guy was sprinting back with JARAY, but we know Garrett has the capability of hitting this throw into this window right here. This ball potentially could have gone over the top, especially with the safety having to respect this vertical route. And the best thing to run when they're playing like a zone like this is all verticals, especially if you have time to throw the football. And if you really wanted it, you could have hit TDP on a check down right here. Okay? So, you know, there was 3 better options, and obviously throwing it to a guy right there. Could Trey have made a better play on the ball? Potentially, but I want to show you the end zone camera. It looks as if Garrett stared this throw down all the way, but I don't think that he did. What I thought he tried to do was look off a safety and throw back, but this goes to show you how advanced quarterbacking has become. If you look off a safety, you really have to look them off, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So you'll see the end zone camera, and Nuss gets the ball. The snap's pretty good, right into his pocket right here. So he's looking left, and it looks as if he is looking at Trey the whole way. But what I want you to do is look. So you see his head right here? He actually looks back middle for a half second. You couldn't see it on the broadcast camera. So what Nuss is thinking in the back of his mind is, okay, I am looking off the safety, and this should automatically make this throw backside there. But that is not the case. Because he looked this way, it made the throw a little bit late to Trey. Okay, so if he was looking this way, if he actually did really look hard to the right, he would have for sure saw Jack Bech running. But what he thought to himself, once again, this is me just thinking this out loud because it doesn't make sense. Why would you look your head to the right and see Jack Bech wide open and not actually throw it to him? What I think he did was just like a little fake just to get that safety over a little bit more. But you notice he just popped it right back. He didn't really just look right. He just moved his head thinking that was going to hold that safety, and it didn't. Okay, and because he held on to it for that much longer, that allowed the safety right here that was actually guarding him to come from behind and undercut it. So he was trying to hold this safety right here, which it kind of sort of did work. It really did. But because he did that, it allowed this guy to undercut it. Trey, you've got to, I mean, right here, you've got to fight back and do a little bit more right there, especially if you feel that guy undercutting right there. But still, the bottom line, we could do as many advanced breakdowns as we possibly can. This throw has got to be made to Jack Bech, and that is 98.9% on Garrett Nussmeier. It's all did in this game, had less smiles written all over it. It's really funny. You know, this 54-yard attempt, once again, Arkansas had 281 total yards. What makes this even worse is that in the second half of a close game, we burn a timeout to get to this spot. So second half of a close game, we definitely need to be ready for the fake field goal on this 4th and 7. Also, there is not much of a benefit to not make sure you are in field goal safe. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, basically put, we want them to try and kick a 54-yard field goal. Now, they have a good field goal kicker in Little, but he's not the biggest leg on the planet, right? We want them to kick. The last thing we want to do is allow a fake to happen. So we essentially have kind of sort of a field goal safe here, but I would have had an extra linebacker back. Just at least 3 guys. 2 guys, they could get fooled by any fake, any pulling guard or whatever. So I would have made extra sure that I would have had the fake covered, and essentially they pulled this guy around, kicked this guy out, and Cam Lewis saw that this gap was wide open, so he jumped inside right here, and Cam Little could have taken that gap. Instead, he actually reads this better than a lot of running backs and takes this to the outside and picks up a huge gain. So not only was it suboptimal to burn the timeout, it was at the same time coming out of the timeout to not make sure you had a good enough field goal safe defense to prevent that long run from happening. So now we're starting to run the football here. Get a nice, really good snap here. Good job by Cole bending around here. Now we just need a seal. Good read by TDP. All right. Cuts inside Liam right there. Finds an extra hole. This is really advanced running back play. TDP's just getting better as the game goes on, as the season goes on. It's just really good stuff right there. Good job redirecting and finding where the open space is. Okay. Now we're running RPO action. Perfect read by Nuss. Boom. Hit Trey right there. And now we are cooking with grease. This is good stuff. Okay, so this to me was the most underrated play of the game. Okay, 2nd and 7. And like I said earlier, BTJ, it was kind of a rough go at it. There was a deep crosser that I think he quit running on at full speed early in the game. And he also, you saw earlier in the film study, Nuss missed BTJ on that rollout to the right, and it just hasn't been BTJ's day when he's been one of our best players. And the thing is, when things don't go your way, we saw this in the McNeese game where, he dropped a pass by Nuss, and Nuss missed him on a dig earlier in the game. When they don't go his way, BTJ can kind of just lose that little bit of a dog. And he's competitive. He's got that dog in him. But as a true freshman, got to understand that things just aren't always going to go your way. So we get exactly what we want. Once again, they're going all out blitz. We have to find the matchup over the top. And this is the 4th time in this game where they're playing zero and we get man coverage, not the 4th time, but 2nd or 3rd time, but just this concept in general. We have a clean enough pocket to hit them deep over the top, and we don't complete it, okay? And Nuss actually throws a really good ball right here, okay? Only thing here is I understand you don't want your quarterback taking the hit, and he does have a good enough arm. We want you to step in and take this lick, okay? Don't let the fade take away your ability to make this throw. So he doesn't step into it to make sure he doesn't get hit. Either way, this is a really good ball. Okay, this is where you actually want to put the football. Okay, straight man coverage. Once again, 21 had been getting beat down the sideline, and you want him to fight back to the inside. You kind of want to underthrow this one. And BTJ is right there. If he would have jumped more directly to the ball. Also, kind of like with JARAY earlier, I do think he left his feet a little too soon. But his feet get tangled up with Brown's feet, and he had an opportunity to bring this down. He had an opportunity to undercut him and make that play. And that is definitely in BTJ's arsenal. That is the Jamar Chase kind of catch where it was a catch you made against Diggs against Alabama, where you just undercut him. The ball is underthrown intentionally, and you got to fight back through that man coverage traffic. Simple thing. I mean, that's something that Kayshawn does. He's making that catch. And when you don't have Kayshawn on the field, you have more wiggle room to go zero and bring everyone. And simply put, we just haven't made enough plays on it. Our deep passing game, there were opportunities in man coverage to make them pay, and we never made them pay over the top. We were probably 0 for 6 in this game. So now we get this 3rd and 7, and there's just nothing. I mean, there's just absolutely nothing. They know the play we're running. They know we're going to run all ins, okay? And look, everybody is shaded to the inside. You notice this DB is shaded to Bech's inside. This DB is shaded to the inside of BTJ as well, okay? He's shaded to the inside, and look, Hudson Clark, their DB, is waiting for JARAY to go right here, okay? So, what do? Well, if Arkansas knows you haven't been hitting them over the top, well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to say, look, we're going to force you to hit over the top. And ironically, we beat Hudson Clark over the top this corner for a touchdown with Race McMath last year. I mean, they're giving this to us, guys. And look, there's just, how could JARAY do anything about that? There's nothing. They know what play we're running. Okay, and we're just too predictable offensively. We really are. And some of it is the limitations of our offense, but some of it also is the lack of creativity in play calling. So once again, think of all the deep passes that LSU missed in the game up to this point. Well, you're about to see another one. So if you're GARRETT NUSSMEIER, you just haven't played enough to know all the different kinds of blitzes you could see. And Barry Odom, of course, is a really tough defensive coordinator to go up against in your first ever real game. So obviously pre-snap, just by looking at this alignment on this 3rd and 3, this looks like nobody's coming. And if somebody is going to come, it would be Hudson Clark, because there is a safety over the top here of Hudson Clark. But what actually happens here is we do end up picking up a first down to DEVONTA Lee, and GARRETT NUSSMEIER pre-snap says, look, if this corner's coming off the edge, I know I'm going to get D. Lee man-to-man against the safety on the out. Okay? Now, we always like to do this. It's an hour in. I want to see if you're still paying attention, okay? I want you to watch this play and see if you pick up on what actually LSU misses here. Because what they end up doing is they double the guy that GARRETT NUSSMEIER thought was coming, okay? And even though they doubled it, we were still able to complete it, okay? So you've gotten to watch the play. Tell me what you think of this play. It is a good play. We do pick up a pretty big gain. We do pick up the blitz really well, and we do pick up, a lot of yards here, but we potentially missed the game-winning touchdown here. So once again, quarterbacking is really hard, okay? And I'm not going to lie, this blitz was really tough to see. There's no way pre-snap that you thought that 15 was a guy that was going to come all the way from here, okay? But he does, okay? And Arkansas actually decides to bring everyone, and the only guy who doesn't, you really do think this guy's going to come because the safety is so close over the top here. You really do think that this guy is going to race off this edge right here, but that's not what happens. In fact, they're doing that same cross-dog action, and let's be honest, Cardell, Brad Davis, and the whole crew did a really good job picking up this action. But GARRETT NUSSMEIER sees that this actually does end up getting doubled and decides to throw it anyway, okay? And it does end up working here to DEVONTA Lee, and we pick up the first down. Well, let's bring it back, okay? This is why quarterbacking is really hard. The safety actually does come all the way from there, and it opens up a huge pocket of space in the middle of the field, okay? Now, remember, we're in a trips bunch formation here to the left, and notice what happens. This guy picks up the drag, and Jack Bech, boom. If GARRETT NUSSMEIER would have worked once he sees that this is doubled, okay, you still should throw the out because they were both doubled to the inside, okay? But once you see that, if you would have worked to the middle, oh my goodness. Once again, this was a really quirky play. Rarely do you see that type of safety blitz that, especially against that trips bunch where a guy is going to be running wide open like that. That's tough, and that's a good job by Barry Odom giving you all those different looks. But that was a walk-in touchdown opportunity there for Jack Bech. But, of course, we take the first down. So Jack Bech was open the last play, so guess what we're going to do? We're going to run the Jack Bech slip, and we get lucky that they bring this safety, and we get exactly what we want here. Jack Bech in the wide open space. He's probably our best receiver with the ball in his hands after the catch, especially now that Kayshawn's out. And we pick up a really nice gain here for a first down. Good job falling forward. Good stuff. Really good offense right here. So we get this slip to Jack Bech, and we get the split screen over here, and we are running this reverse fake action here. It was a fake toss to the right and a pitch to the left. Okay? Let's see here. Their linebackers are just so good at reading keys. This is a sign of a really well-coached unit right here. Okay, so, you know, so many linebackers, when they see, you know, this motion, they just run out this way because it does look like a quick pitch. But instead, it's a reverse, and the linebacker sees this even before Nuss is pitching it. That's just a really good read, and this play is dead. Excellent stuff. So now if you're Trey, we just need you to run at this guy and just get these yards right here. Don't get flat. He has you dead to rights. There's just nothing to bounce here, and now we decide to cut back, and we get nothing anyway. Bumper pull, we go down easy. It's just their linebackers really outplayed us last night. Their linebackers and safeties. So now it's 2nd and 13, and they are bringing another blitz. This time it's two guys coming from here, and guess what? We have it picked up, okay? So now someone's just got to get open here, all right? And it got tipped, okay? We had what we wanted. We had Jack Bech against this blitz, against the safety. We just need to give him enough time to clear out here, okay? And it got tipped by their linebacker. And would this have been completed, it would have been bang, bang. But, yeah, I mean, you know, you just got to give him some credit for making a good play here. Since we run so many crossers, Alabama did this, and this is what actually got the JARAY JENKINS interception before the half. One thing I would do is, since they know we run so many drag routes, run an option route or run a fake drag and an out this way. It's going to be open because so many people in man coverage now, whenever we, especially when we get to these 2nd and 10s, they're sitting on our crossers. So boom, boom, out route. That's something that I would like to see. Some more variation with our routes. So it's 3rd and 13, and Nuss makes one of his best. So here we go. It's 3rd and 13. Nuss makes one of his best plays of the night. A little too much penetration from the outside, but Nuss throwing on his off foot away from his body delivers a laser. I know it's very blurry right here, but this was a strike to JARAY JENKINS on this out to make it a manageable 4th down opportunity. Really good stuff right there. Now we get to this 4th and 3. Get Jack Bech on the field, which is good. JARAY, DEVONTA LEE, and Trey Palmer. And once again, this play is dead from the start. They are just sitting on our interior routes. Okay, so how do they know this? Well, the first thing is Max Johnson. I know he's not the quarterback, but just on tape, Max Johnson just can't throw out-breaking routes. So that was probably just part of Arkansas's game plan, that they weren't going to let us beat them on interior crossers. And it's the same thing you saw earlier with JARAY. They're just going to blitz the living daylights out of you. They know you got to throw the football quickly. It is once again zero coverage. We just need somebody to win, and Trey is not even out of his break here. And he's not even looking for it. And he's past the sticks. He knows that it has to potentially be hot. Once again, just not a lot of chemistry here. And this ball, I mean, maybe he thought Trey was going to break to the outside, but this is just, I mean, with the game on the line. Also, JARAY was open at the bottom of the screen on the slant. Okay. He eventually got open right here. Okay. This was there. Okay. But you see, they're just sitting on these interior breaking routes. So what do you have to do? Well, the first thing is, if they sit on these interior breaking routes, you just got to hit them over the top. By the way, for those that don't know, count the heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is straight zero-man coverage with nobody back deep. Okay, they're doing exactly what Alabama did to us last week in this exact same spot, and we still can't beat it. Throw it deep. Run over the top of them. They brought so many safety blitzes. You just got to keep doing it. Eventually, you're going to hit it. Eventually, you're going to draw a pass interference penalty. But we're just too predictable with our interior breaking routes, slants, digs, or whatever when we get to these medium situations, okay? Got to go over the top. But even then, I don't know what Trey was doing. On 4th and 3, I mean, you got to be cutting your routes off once you get past the markers, because you know they're going to be coming really, really, really hot. Once again, no communication. I don't really know what's happening here. But still, once again, our defense steps up. We get the football back. It's 1st and 10 on our own 5. So we try the Jack Bech slip again. Of course, they've adjusted and they're ready for it. I don't know why Cole Taylor's on the field right now when they know we're probably going to throw. And we get a good kind of awkward completion here on 1st down. So we pick up a nice 1st down with TDP. And look at this run. I mean, just look at this blocking. Good to see Cardell get reps. And look at this. Just sticking with this double, sticking with your block. Good job, Cardell. TDP eventually finding the hole and getting vertical. Okay. And they make a good tackle here. Good job by TDP, though. Really good stuff. Here, our 1st down. We pulled this guard to get these linebackers to false step. They do, but they do a good job getting out of their breaks and getting some depth. Good job by Nuss just hitting this check down right here. Too much pressure right here, especially up the middle, Ridgeway on Liam. And Cardell, I mean, we need you to go block this guy. Okay, don't just watch him. Block him. Earhole this guy. Okay, but TDP goes full ham right here and just cuts through there. It's really good stuff. And he makes something out of nothing. Okay, so this is actually a good play right here because this is going to bleed the clock. All right, we want to make sure that we have the final possession, and we do have a very good field goal kicker. So we do want to be aggressive. And in an optimal world, we end this game on Cade York's leg. It's an ugly game. And, you know, you should feel pretty good about LSU's chances of winning this at this point. Good stuff right here. It's just really good offense. Good job by Trey catching the ball. Okay. Did he need to jump here for this? Not sure, but he did. And we pick up some good yards there. Good tackle. Guy was getting late over there. So, good stuff. So, now we set up a manageable 3rd down. Okay, so we set up this 3rd down, and we're running the football with TDP. Perfectly fine with this call to run on 3rd down. Okay, Liam gets jacked up by Ridgeway, and Cole Taylor misses this block right here. I don't know if Jack Mashburn got hurt, but it was huge that he did. Cole Taylor is a huge blocking liability, and this has just been the case. I know that's really harsh. I like Cole, and I like the fact that he got his opportunity to play, but this was Bumper Pool making a gigantic play again for them. Dear Lord. 10 and Slusher really tore us up. Henry did as well, number 27. Goodness, this was a huge missed block right here. Okay? So once again, it's different when the offensive lineman lines up, or the defensive lineman lines up a full yard off the ball, okay, on this 3rd and 2. It is awkward, but we should not have issues blocking this because we saw this a lot versus Ole Miss, okay? But still, Ridgeway just jacks up Liam Shanahan right here, but where the miss actually happens is right here by Cole. Okay, we need you to get to the inside shoulder of Poole, and we need you just to hit him and kick him out this way. Don't let him get to the inside of you, and instead we get soft at the worst possible time. Even though Liam is getting jacked up right here, a decent block to this interior shoulder right here, probably gets us his first down. Probably. So Liam getting jacked up, Cole Taylor getting jacked up, and guess what? Dellinger has his guy. Martinez has his guy. Cardell has his guy. Everything else is perfectly blocked except right here. And if either one of them had a decent block, TDP probably has enough to break through that arm tackle, especially considering how good he's been on short yardage. Cardell was the first person to move. Okay? I just don't like this. Just run a play. Just run a play. It's 4th and 1, and we still have 2 timeouts left to go. And we did do a smart thing here to bleed a full 40. So what you could have done is played both sides of it. It's kind of a weird spot here for Sam Pittman. He was trying to play for overtime as well. It was part of the reason why I like the under so much is because both coaches are so conservative on 4th down. When that happens, you're going to have lower scoring games. But still, you know, we have 2 timeouts left. Go for it on 4th down. We only need about 1 more completion, and then we have an opportunity to win the game. If you don't pick this up, once again, you are essentially giving them the game. But either way, I think you let TDP decide the game here on 4th and inches. I really do. I just... you know, I know the analytics says to go for it, but honestly, just in theory, your offense has been converting 4th and shorts really well in recent weeks. I just think you got to go for it. I do think we were the first to jump here, but once again, it's just the same thing I was talking about at the end of the first half. We play cowardly football. We played a punt, and I'm sick of it. So now we get to the overtime period, okay? And it is 2nd and 10, and GARRETT NUSSMEIER is back to pass, and it is a rush 3, drop 8. And once again, they do such – teams have figured this out. And we've done a better job defensively doing this as well. Okay, on 2nd and 10 – this would have been a scenario where I would have checked into a run simply because of how light this box is. So let's do some math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if there's 9 guys right here, that means that there's 2 deep safeties, okay? I definitely would have run against this box. I would have checked into a run. I know we were struggling blocking out of this, but what they end up doing here is what Ole Miss did to Max Johnson all day. And there's a few things you can do to stop this from happening, but what they do is they rush 3. It's not really even pass rushing. All they're doing is delaying bringing this linebacker, and essentially he is QB spying. So wherever GARRETT NUSSMEIER steps up into the pocket, he is going to immediately sprint to GARRETT NUSSMEIER. So Hayden Henry does a good job. Instead of just running into this mush, he does an excellent job of seeing that this is where the quarterback would likely step up and scramble. And notice Nuss, he probably thinks he has a wide open gap because he probably doesn't see him, and that's exactly what happens. Next thing you know, Nuss sees that this linebacker is still running downhill at him, and there's just nothing he can do, okay? And he couldn't throw it. He would have been sacked and fumbled right there, and they bring him down. Really good stuff right there by their linebackers. Yeah, Arkansas had a safety by the name of Tony Bua. And even though Hayden Henry's a linebacker, and he's not the same caliber of player as Tony Dubua, he's really good. I mean, he is a really, really good football player. And what's funny is Jack Bech actually was breaking off this route where he was against the safety. And if Nuss would have sat here just a little bit longer, you saw Bech thinking about running back into this space, and then he sees Nuss running to his left, so he curls back this way. There was just nowhere for him to throw the football. And this linebacker was also QB spying. I mean, this was just dead. So now it's 3rd and 20, and we get Nuss's best play of the night. Okay, let's do some math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they have 2 deep safeties. Well, what do? Well, we run all verts. Okay, so Nuss sits in this pocket and just delivers a strike right over the top of the safety. Good stuff all around. And they were really deep here. This is shockingly deep on 3rd and 20. I don't know what Barry Odom was doing right there. But goodness, if Arkansas would have lost the game, that would have been the most baffling safety placement I would have ever seen. And look at this. I mean, Nuss, perfect pocket, perfect throw. You're going to play your safeties that deep? Look at that. Ooh, beautiful throw. Protects his guy, too, by underthrowing it slightly. Good job by Malik. So now this, of course, is the interception, and a lot of you brought this up in the live stream, and you've hit me up on Twitter and every social media platform, and all of you are right. We actually had exactly what we wanted. Jack Bech on a slant versus, I believe, a safety. Yeah, that's Joe Fouché out of New Orleans. Fouché. And this is just a really bad throw. Okay? So first thing, obviously, is the ball should have gone to Jack Bech here. I mean, he's walking into the end zone for a touchdown. Legit walking in. But we throw this 50-50 ball to DEVONTA Lee. Is that who we want deciding the game? I don't know. But he just threw it right to him. It wasn't a good throw. And D-Lee did what he could, but still, you got to throw that to the back pylon. And you'll see it here. Yeah, you can see Bech is just there. And this ball has just got to be to the left shoulder right there of D-Lee. Oh, well. Alrighty, so before we get to Jake Peetz, I know a lot of you have questions about my thoughts on Jake Peetz and Garrett and Max. Let's start with this actual game itself. Should LSU have won this game? And the answer is a resounding yes. I will say this, and a lot of my Arkansas buddies and pals will torch me for this. Arkansas did have some valiant performances. In particular, their linebackers and safeties were really elite in this game. But LSU did more to lose this game than Arkansas did to win it. All the missed deep passes you saw today, at least 4 or 5, and none of the over-the-top balls connected outside of the Jack Bech 50-50 touchdown. You're looking at the yards per play numbers. That is ridiculous that they only averaged 4.3 yards per play. That is a really dominant defensive performance for the second week in a row. And you have to factor in this. Arkansas statistics offensively, those 281 total yards are even worse when you really break it down, okay? One of them was on the fake field goal, okay? That was, 23 of their yards. Also, they got a huge run, a 28-yard run before the half when LSU was playing prevent defense. So that is well over, or just over, 51 of their 281 yards on 2 plays that really have nothing to do with offense. And then the play that they did score their deep touchdown was a really special play by KJ Jefferson. So to really put this out there, Daronte was really elite for the second straight week in a row against a really potent offense. Now, Arkansas's offense is flawed, but they are very good. And look, LSU's offense just missed way too many opportunities to win this game. It didn't help that we played cowardly at times. And let's be honest, Jake Peetz had some really bad moments, most notably the Wildcat snap. When you look at an advanced stat like EPA per play via GameOnPaper.com, that was the worst play of the game. It lost the most expected points added. So that shows you how critical TDP fumbling the ball in that spot at that juncture in the game. And even if you take the analytics out of it, if you're a big believer in momentum and team morale, that just sucked the life out of a drive where GARRETT NUSSMEIER was dealing. So yeah, I've got to say that was just a beyond idiotic play call right there. And you're looking at some other stats as well, such as EPA and the advanced stats. The bottom line is Arkansas with 281 yards of total offense. LSU with so many blown opportunities offensively just didn't get the job done, which leads us to Ed Orgeron and Jake Peetz. And by the way, Arkansas won the Golden Boot. I do want to add this in here as well before I get to this. It does mean more to them. This is Arkansas's Super Bowl. I think most fans know as a program that more than likely they'll never get to the college football playoff. I'd like to see it. My best friends growing up were all Arkansas fans, and a majority of them. I would like to see that for them somewhere down the road, but I think even they know, and just talking with them, the Golden Boot, I mean, right when they won it, they sprinted over there to grab it. LSU, when they won it back in 2019, they didn't even think about touching it. So it's just a completely different mindset heading into this game about how much it means to them. So, once again, was want to an issue for LSU? No, they played hard, but just understand that it does mean more to Arkansas fans. Now, we get to this juncture, okay? I want to start with Ed Orgeron. Once again, it was a good defensive game plan. Give Daronte and his assistants and analysts a lot of credit for putting together a really good plan to stop Arkansas. I do disagree with those that say, well, look, it was smart to not put GARRETT NUSSMEIER in against Alabama. I still do disagree with that because Max was playing so atrociously bad in that game. LSU's offense needed a spark. They needed something else. At least we would have seen that GARRETT get that opportunity. And just in this game alone, Max was also really, really, really bad. Worse than GARRETT NUSSMEIER. You saw the misses that he had early in the game. They had to pull him. So, yeah, the victory lap that some are making, saying, well, Ed Orgeron made the right decision. No, it was not the right decision. We were in winning reach of beating Alabama, and Nuss could have made the throws. I'll tell you this just based on watching them. Nuss is better than Max right now, but the bottom line is neither of them are that good. And some of that is just both of them being very, very young. They're both in the first and second years of their progression. And once again, Miles Brennan still should be the starting quarterback of this football team. So, look, it is not the victory lap you think it is. Also, let's just say GARRETT NUSSMEIER goes out there and struggles versus Alabama. Well, at least he would have gotten some of the mistakes he made versus Arkansas out of his system. Now, maybe that doesn't change his Arkansas performance, but it is a little bit different when you play your first game of actual competitive snaps. And there was a lot of pressure on GARRETT NUSSMEIER to actually get that done. So the first thing here is Max Johnson. I think he should not start this ULM game. I don't. I think GARRETT NUSSMEIER's got to be your guy. Simply put, I do think GARRETT gives you a better shot to win versus ULM. And number two, it's just good for GARRETT to get the full week's reps of snaps as a full-time starter to see how he actually handles that situation. Now, we get to GARRETT NUSSMEIER's performance, and As you guys saw, a lot of misses, a lot of likes, but more to dislike. But then again, he is just a true freshman. But we also have to realize what Garrett Nussmeier is and what he isn't. He is a playmaker. He is a guy that can extend plays. But athletically, as far as a runner is concerned, he's no one that is going to, break a game open with his legs. He's somewhat similar to Max in that both of them can run, but are they athletic enough to burn you with their legs? No. Whereas on the other sideline, KJ Jefferson really made some clutch scrambles and plays against us with this mobility. So, I do think Garrett is more athletic than Max, but it's not like a sizable gap. Also, Garrett Nussmeier needs to work on just making the basic throws, just doing what needs to be done to move the chains. Overall, this was, a typical true freshman performance as notified by a QBR of 27. And for those that don't know, a QBR of 27 is really bad. And to be frank, I don't think Garrett Nussmeier was really bad. I do think that QBR is a little bit harsh because it doesn't lack the additional context of the situation he was in. But at the same time, it wasn't great. And, you can't. This wasn't the best game for LSU's receivers. The fact that we just couldn't get any of those over the top balls to connect. But still, the throws were what was the biggest issue. Now we get to Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus and the offensive staff. There were some plays that they called that were there that the quarterback simply just didn't execute. I was a little shocked that they weren't able to adjust to some of the things that Barry Odom threw at him. What I would have done, knowing that they were running a lot of those layered blitzes, one thing you can do against that is a play that LSU's run a lot, is a wide receiver screen or just screens in general. And I know LSU screen game has been bad, but when you don't have screen game, that's what's going to happen. They're going to give you so many exotic looks such as that one. I also think just overall Jake Peetz just can't get in a rhythm right now. And this goes to Ed Orgeron again. This hire wasn't good. And in fact, there are people in the coaching industry that I've reached out to that I trust. There are some people starting to wonder if Joe Brady is actually really all that great because, his 1 year of greatness was with the greatest college quarterback of all time and two wide receivers that have been two of the best wide receivers ever as rookies in the NFL. So, maybe giving Joe Brady the keys to making this hire wasn't the best move in hindsight. And honestly, Ed Orgeron's hiring practices haven't all been the best moves in hindsight. And that is a big reason why we are here right now. Number one, Miles Brennan's injury. Let's call it like it is. Miles Brennan is a better quarterback than both of the guys you saw today. But then the second thing here is, it's just me being honest here, Jake Peetz is not ready. He's not ready as a play caller. Just looking at him in the box, he looks exhausted. He looks overmatched at this point. Do I think Jake can be a really great play caller? Yeah, he had a great call against Mississippi State. But still, we are really, really bad right now. I mean, you can look at our yards per play EPA right now. Only South Carolina and Vanderbilt are worse than us on a yards per play basis at 5.27. And it is a wide margin between us and number 11 Mississippi State, who is at 5.75 yards per play. Every team in the SEC is averaging at least 6 yards per play, except those bottom four. And that's a problem because the year before, we also didn't average 6 yards per play. So that is an issue. We are broken offensively. And I think this game makes it a real necessity to A, hire an offensive coach, or B, hire a defensive coach that has a pretty daggum strong plan at what he is going to do as the offensive coordinator. If you don't do those two things, you are dead. 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 But anyway, that's all I have today. I know it's a little bit longer. Comment down below your thoughts on today's film study. And we will talk to you soon. It was so much fun getting to meet a whole lot of you. And hopefully we'll do another meetup soon. Maybe we'll do one before the end of the season. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But still, we should do more meetups and hang out more often. It's really cool stuff. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. Thanks to the president of PHL, Cliff, giving me a place to stay. And it's been fun. Chicken and waffle party last night was dope. And tonight, I don't know what we're doing tonight. We're going to get some good food. Let's go.